Hello everyone. Today also we'll be continuing the same chapter, that is chemical reactions and equations, and we are doing types of chemical reactions. Until now we have done two types, that is combination reaction and decomposition reaction. Combination reaction is a reaction in which two or more reactants combine together to give you a single product, and in a decomposition reaction a single reactant is broken down to give simpler products. And in today's class we'll start with displacement reaction, and let's learn the activity given in your textbook under page number 10, activity number 1.9. It is said that you have to dip iron nails in copper sulfate solution and check the color of the solution after some time. So here in the figure you can see the color of the copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solution is blue in color. So you have to dip iron nails into this and you have to see what happens, what color change takes place after some time. So it will be seen that color of the solution fades and nail becomes brownish in color. So initially the nail was like this. After it was dipped into copper sulfate solution, it has turned brown, and the color of the solution, which was initially blue, has faded down. And later, after some time, when you notice this test tube, you will find that solution must have turned greenish in color. Why? What has exactly happened here? We'll learn now. See here, the iron in the nail displaces copper from copper sulfate solution. So copper is displaced from copper sulfate solution, because of which the solution has faded down. So whenever an element is displaced from its compound, we call it as a displacement reaction. We normally say a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element. So this displacement reaction results in the formation of copper. So iron in the nail displaces copper from the copper sulfate solution, because of which the solution fades in color, and the deposits of copper can be seen on the iron nail, because of which it has turned brownish in color. So the equation for the same reaction is given here. Copper sulfate reacts with iron to give you iron sulfate, and copper is getting displaced. So when copper is displaced from this, so the blue color is lost and it will become fainter, it will fade, and later it will turn greenish in color, because it has become ferrous sulfate now, because this copper sulfate has reacted with iron to form ferrous sulfate, and copper is getting displaced. So whenever such type of reaction is seen with an element getting displaced, we call it as a displacement reaction. So here, so this is the color of the nail before the reaction, and after it was dipped into copper sulfate solution, it has turned brown. The color of the copper sulfate solution was blue, and after some time it has turned green. The green color of the solution is because it has turned as ferrous sulfate. Ferrous sulfate is green in color, that is your iron sulfate. Now these two are the examples of displacement reaction, that is zinc reacts with copper sulfate to give you zinc sulfate and copper. Lead reacts with copper chloride CuCl2 to give you lead chloride and copper. Okay, zinc and lead are more reactive elements. That is why they displace copper from its compound. So in a displacement reaction, a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element. When you come to metals and non-metals, you will be learning about reactivity series. So when you are doing that, it will be more clear to you. So let's move on. Now let's learn about double displacement reaction. So let's discuss the activity given in your textbook in page number 11, activity number 1.10. In that it is said that you have to mix sodium sulfate solution and barium chloride solution. Sodium sulfate is Na2SO4 and barium chloride is BaCl2, remember. Okay, so I've given the images of those two solutions, sodium sulfate and barium chloride. So you have to mix them with each other by taking small amounts in test tubes as given in the figure here. So what happens here? you will find a white precipitate of barium sulfate sinks at the bottom. We had taken barium chloride initially. It was sodium sulfate and barium chloride. So these two solutions were mixed with each other. After mixing, you will find barium sulfate sinking at the bottom and sodium chloride. Barium sulfate and sodium chloride. So here sodium sulfate and barium chloride undergo double displacement reaction and form barium sulfate and sodium chloride. This barium sulfate is insoluble in water and settles down as a precipitate. Precipitate means which will not get dissolved in water. So whenever a precipitate is formed, you can call it as a precipitate reaction even. Understood? So now this is the equation form for the same. Sodium sulfate reacts with barium chloride to give you barium sulfate and sodium chloride. This barium sulfate will be in the form of a precipitate. Okay. Now sodium sulfate and barium chloride undergo double displacement reaction to form insoluble white barium sulfate precipitate. Whenever a precipitate is formed, you can call it as a precipitate or precipitation reaction even. Okay. Now let's now learn about oxidation and reduction. Let's begin with the activity given in your textbook, activity number 1.11. It is given in page number 12 of your textbook. It is said that you have to heat copper powder in a china dish. The experimental setup is given here. This is a china dish in which you are taking copper powder and you are heating it. On heating, you will see the surface of the copper powder turning black. Why is it happening? Because oxygen is getting added to copper, because of which copper oxide is formed. The equation for this reaction is like this. Copper reacts with oxygen to give you, means we are heating here, to give you copper oxide. Let me balance. So it forms copper oxide, and you can call this as an example of oxidation reaction also. So what is an oxidation reaction? The reaction in which oxygen is gained is said to be an oxidation reaction, or you can define oxidation as a reaction in which hydrogen is lost. Either there will be gaining of oxygen or there will be loss of hydrogen. Then you can call that reaction as oxidation reaction. So here copper is gaining oxygen to form your copper oxide. So there is gaining of oxygen. You call this as an example of oxidation reaction. Now reduction reaction. A reduction reaction is a reaction in which hydrogen is gained or oxygen is lost. Let's learn that with this example here. When you pass hydrogen gas over this copper oxide, which is already a heated material, okay, it forms copper and water. This CuO, that is copper oxide, has lost its oxygen. When there is loss of oxygen, you call it as reduction. Okay. Now this hydrogen has gained oxygen. So when there is gaining of oxygen, you call it as oxidation. So in this portion, oxygen is lost. So that type of reaction is also said to be a reduction reaction. Gaining of hydrogen or loss of oxygen. That is for reduction reaction. When oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously, you call it as a redox reaction. So this can be given as an example of redox reaction even. Now, when a substance gains oxygen during a reaction, it is said to be oxidized, and when a substance loses oxygen, it is said to be reduced. Now, let's look at few more examples of redox reaction which is given in your textbook even. So, the same example what we saw just now, copper oxide loses oxygen. It's undergoing reduction when there is loss of oxygen. Here hydrogen is gaining oxygen, so it is oxidation reaction. So these two are also the examples of redox reaction. Here your ZNO is losing oxygen. When there is loss of oxygen, you call it as reduction. So your carbon is gaining oxygen, so oxidation. So when oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously, you call it as a redox reaction. Now let's focus on this reaction. Here what happens? Here, see, these are the reactants MnO2, HCl. The product formed is MnCl2, H2O and Cl2. So here your hydrochloric acid is getting oxidized. It's losing oxygen and forming chlorine here. So when hydrogen is lost means it is getting oxidized, right? And then your MnO2 is reduced to MnCl2. Oxygen is lost from here. So this is also an example of redox reaction. So when a substance gains oxygen or loses hydrogen, it is said to be oxidized. If a substance loses oxygen or gains hydrogen during a reaction, we say it is reduced. These are the other examples given for redox reaction. Please go through this. See these examples for a redox reaction here. So here this portion there is reduction because oxygen is lost. Here it is oxidation because oxygen is gained. Similarly this portion you see oxygen is gained, so oxidation. Here oxygen is lost, so reduction. Similarly here this copper oxide is undergoing reduction because there is loss of oxygen, and your hydrogen is gaining oxygen to form water, so it's undergoing oxidation. So these are the examples for redox reaction. Now let's move on to the last part of your lesson, that is oxidation reactions in your everyday life. So the two major oxidation reactions that we'll be learning now, which takes place in your day-to-day life, are corrosion of metals and rancidity of food items. So what do you mean by corrosion? See, corrosion is nothing but deterioration of a metal due to its chemical reaction between the metal and the surrounding environment. The metals, when they are kept exposed, are attacked by the substances which are found in the surroundings, like your moisture and acids. So you must have noticed the iron objects forming a rust over at the brown deposit. It's given as an example here in this image. Silver articles also undergo corrosion. See, silver deposit, they turn black in color on its exposure to atmosphere. Copper articles, they form a green layer above it on its exposure to the environment because of the reaction of moisture and other acids. So this you must have seen in the jewelry shop, silver articles are always kept inside glass doors so that it does not come in contact with the environment, okay, or they'll be wrapping it in paper and keeping. Similarly, copper utensils, when we are having at home, we must be having at home also. When you don't wash it for several days, when it is kept exposed out, you must have observed green tint formed over that. This is because they are undergoing corrosion. So corrosion is nothing but deterioration of metals, and this corrosion causes damages to your car bodies also. So you must have seen the car, the door portion of the car, rust will be formed if it is kept exposed to your environment because of its reaction with moisture content in the atmosphere. Okay, next we'll talk about rancidity. When the substance containing oils and fats are exposed to air, they get oxidized and become rancid, which is not good for your health, due to which their smell, taste and color change. This process is what is known as rancidity. To be, it can be said like this: when oils and fats are oxidized, we say that they become rancid. And when they become rancid, their taste and smell changes. Usually you add substances which prevent oxidation to the foods containing fats and oils. You must have seen these, chips and all, when you buy packets of Lay's, Kurkure and all, they are just kept in packets, tightly packed packets, and those packets will be flushed with nitrogen gas to prevent them from getting oxidized. They won't be crispy. Similarly, you store biscuits and other fried items in airtight containers so that it does not undergo oxidation. So what is rancidity? When the substance containing oils and fats are exposed to air, they get oxidized and become rancid, because of which the smell, color and taste change. Okay, so the ways to prevent oxidation of these food substances is to keep them stored in airtight containers, or the chips packet in which the chips are packed, those packets are flushed with nitrogen gas, so that you can prevent these substances from undergoing oxidation. Okay, with this the lesson gets over. So I want you all to read your textbook thoroughly. Take care. Bye.